Win the incredible Steigercraft, Evinrude, Lowrance Grand Prize Boat Package, and more in the Fisherman's 2018 Dream Boat Fishing Challenge. Get the details at thefisherman.com.
So while it might not be the official start of summer 2018, we've got Memorial Day weekend and the opening of Fluke on Friday, so as far as I'm concerned, summer is here. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. I'm gearing up for Fluke season here at Tackle World in Rochelle Park. Now, all those great Jigging World products that you know so well, the Black Demon rods, the Black Widow, the brand new Nexus series, and all those rigs and jigs, of course, they're all right here under one roof here at Tackle World in Rochelle Park in North Jersey. In fact, I'm standing here in the Fluke room, gearing up, where Mike tells me, he said the one thing, the Fluke candy is flying off the shelves this week, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be gearing up. It's a huge store. You got to come check it out. Everything you need, all under one roof. Come in and say hello to Mike. Come here and say hello to Yang. Come here and check out the slow pitch jig and stuff for bluefin. It's going to absolutely change the way you fish this season. They're at 174 Route 17 North in Rochelle Park. Now, of course, Fluke. If you're gearing up for Fluke, I think the South Jersey Bay action will be the best of the season this weekend, all the way through June into the early part of July. Places like Great Bay, Little Bay, down through Absecon, behind Margate, Ocean City, Avalon. Try light bucktails, maybe some of those Fluke candy on top. Tipped with gulp, it's definitely the way to go. In Grassy Sound, Ludlam, Jarvis Sound, of course. Personally, I think it's going to be a tremendous opening weekend of that shallow water summer flounder in the state of Jersey. Summer flounder or Fluke, it all depends on where you're going. If you're down in South Jersey, it's typically flounder. If you're up in North Jersey, it's going to be Fluke, right? The sedges outside of creek mouths, Barnegat Bay flats too. Now, we've heard of fish inside of Shark River and Manasquan already. I talked to Doug Rush, who's here from Shimano today. He's heard the same thing. A lot of folks are expecting a lot on that Friday opener. In fact, Friday into Saturday looks pretty darn good to start the weekend. Of course, then on Sunday and Monday, it seems like we get back into striper weather, which isn't too bad because most of the folks up in North Jersey and along the Raritan and out front have been gearing up on those stripers. So there's nothing wrong with a little bit of striper weather. From the Raritan out Sandy Hook on down to Asbury Park, guys are catching them on the troll, like Pete Sykes of the Parker Pete's. Trolling this week had good action with the Mojos. Also had good action with some of those bunker spoons. As a matter of fact, that's what Mike Fornicello used. He had a Maja number 4 for this giant striper that he caught earlier in the week. So there's definitely some good fish along that Monmouth stretch. It's just a matter of hunting and pecking for those fish because it wasn't blowing up. They're harder to find Monday and Tuesday. I don't know if it had a lot to do with that 7-day flood that we had last week, but definitely worked a little bit harder. By midweek Wednesday, we did have a much better bite along the Raritan and out along the northern coast. Although on Tuesday, we fought the rain. A few co-workers and I, John DeBona, Toby Lipinski from the New England edition. We're out with the folks from Navionics and Ray Marine on the Fin Chasers crew. Captain Frank Crescitelli, Anthony Grassi. Live bunker was pretty much getting it done. A few inside Raritan, but we found those schools outside along the beaches, along Monmouth County. In fact, we got into some plug-in as well, some top water, as some of those big stripers are definitely starting to push the bunker around outside. I imagine it's only a week, couple of days, maybe a couple of hours away before we start seeing those bunker explosions on the top as those stripers start to go nuts. Nuts. They got to be going nuts now if this blind squirrel can catch a big fish on a plug. Got to thank the boys from Fin Chasers and, of course, from Ray Marine and Navionics. The way these guys are coupling their electronics, it's just not fair to the fish. I got to say that. If you're looking for some of those stripers along the LBI stretch, they're there. There was a 54.5 pounder caught on one of the Beach Haven Marlin and Tuna Club boats earlier in the week. Good timing, too, because they have that big Striper Cup this weekend. The LBI Striper Cup, the Striper Invitational. If you want details on that LBI Striper Classic, go to bhmtc.com. Now we do have the stripers along the beaches in Atlantic and Cape May County as well. Clam and bunker chunks are definitely getting it done. Though Ralph Harker, he shared this photo with Betty and Nick's, what you're apt to find in some of those striper bellies. Look at all those sand crabs. Tell you what, that's one of the baits the guys in Delaware like to use. Mole crabs, sand crabs, whatever you call them, sand fleas. They'll drift them along the rocks at the Indian River Jetty. So definitely something to keep in mind. There are, of course, stripers in Delaware Bay. Guys are plugging them and they're catching them on bait. But the big thing down in Delaware Bay on both sides right now is a black drum bite that's simply off the hook. We talked to Mike Farmer from Creek Road Bait and Tackle and also Break Even Charters. He's getting on them. All those Delaware Bay guys are on the big black drum. In fact, we have the full moon coming up on Tuesday next. So that's usually a good time to get those drum moving. We should have another several weeks, full month of June, where that black drum bite is just off the hook. Speaking of off the hook drum too, I had a message from Arthur DePayne. He and his wife, Irvia, were out on Raritan Bay last week at night on their aluminum john boat. They got out with some plugs, hoping to get on some stripers. Lo and behold, a hook-bending big fish, 45-pound drum. And Arthur told me it almost flipped over his john boat. He called it a scary and exciting best time ever. Congratulations, Art. That's one heck of a fish. You got blues in and out of the inlets all throughout the Jersey coast. If you're looking for a tug on the line this weekend, you can see where the boats are. Hit those bulkheads, hit those jetties, take some of those old plugs. The bluefish are definitely in and out. Of course, most of those party boats are out looking for black sea bass right now. They're on the hunt for some of those humpbacks this weekend, and it's a good bet that lots will be loaded on Saturday. Parking lots are going to be loaded. Anglers are going to be lined up along the rails. Folks like these from the Mates Academy there in Manahawkin got out on some fishing on the Carolyn Ann 3 out of Barnegat Light. So it should be a busy weekend on those head boats. Definitely get there early to lock in your best spot, your favorite spot along the rail. Don't forget those weigh-ins too, those humpbacks or maybe some of those giant porgies you're catching. In fact, Hector Valdez, he had a 3.1-pound porgy, and he said, hey, you know, this fish could win me a great prize, maybe in a new boat in the Fisherman's Dream Boat Contest. Brought that into Hookhouse Bait and Tackle. Now Hector is in the running for a brand new Steiger craft as a Fisherman subscriber this season. Catch him up there. We are expecting more big weakfish on that leaderboard as well, especially as we have that full moon coming up on Tuesday. It's usually a time that coincides with the crab molt, and it's also a great time for the shedder oils, right? I'm going to be dosing all my squid baits and shedder oils this weekend in advance of the fluke tournament. Did talk to, or fluke opening I would say, I did talk to Frank Rosinski from the Wonderful World of Weakfish. He's expecting a good weakfish run, especially in Central and South Jersey, heading into the Memorial Day weekend. And again, with those shedders in the mix, this is usually a time where we start to get more of those big tide runners around the time of the full moon. Now, I'm going to finish gearing up here at Tackle World. I've got another $100 or so to spend in advance of the fluke weekend, the Friday kickoff. I will be on the road all day Friday if you're trying to reach me. So get those gulps in order, sharpen the hooks, have a great weekend, good luck, and we'll talk to you again after the Memorial Day weekend with our reports next week, right here at thefisherman.com.
Win the incredible Steiger Craft, Evinrude, Loran's Grand Prize Boat Package, and more in the Fisherman's 2018 Dream Boat Fishing Challenge. Get the details at thefisherman.com.